Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Scape from CZT Angie Gittles. This is a fun one, and it also kind of works with the whole concept of reticula and fragments. And now I have not necessarily delved that far into it myself. It's been, around for a while. If you have any of, there's actually two Zentangle books by Rick and Maria. This one is in the Zentangle Primer, Volume 1. And so you go to my website, and I do have that available. And if you're interested, there's a lot of other great information in there. So just really quick, and also in a nutshell, reticula. So what I love about Rick and Maria is they really do a deep dive, and in looking into words, meaning of words, and having also kind of cool words to describe what it is that they want to do. So they were digging for the most descriptive word. Well, actually, they looked up the word grid. And that was defined as a network of lines that cross each other to form a series of squares or rectangles. So they were looking for the most descriptive word for these structures that we use, the grids that we use, and what they found was reticulum, or the plural reticula. And so if you see that, if you're listening to other people, it just means it's the structure, whether it's a grid or whatever. And then the fragments are the pieces of tangles that you put in the grid. So this exemplifies that. All right, with all of that said, thank you for your patience. But I was like, I've not really dug into it because I was like, oh, okay, I'm having fun tangling, and that just seemed complicated. But it's really not complicated. It's just an extra layer of fun that gets to get added to our tangling. And this will demonstrate how that works. So I'm just going to do a 4 square, because again, I mentioned this is a grid pattern. And in my step out, which is in the description section, you'll see I'm essentially the first 5 boxes I've kind of zeroed in on one part of the grid. Okay, so let me draw the 4 square, and that will make more sense. So it's kind of like if I zoomed in on this, so that way then you see the pattern, and then the idea is you can change the pattern up and turn the pattern and create a variety of neat tangles from it. Also in the description section, I'm going to put in the link to Tangle Patterns, because Angie has some really nice samples listed on there, so you can kind of get the idea of what I mean. And I have some right here that I'll show you that are from the sessions. All right, so we're going to start off with a diagonal line. Okay, and actually, I think so what I'm going to do is let me just do one first. Okay, so just focusing on one grid, we're going to do one line, and then we're going to order that line on either side, so you end up with 3 lines in the center. Okay, then what I'm going to do is in this bottom section, we're going to put a giant spiral, or printops, if you're familiar with that tangle. So I'm going to start in the middle, and if you lose me, I'm going to repeat it 3 more times. All right, so putting my pen in the middle and working relatively slowly, just watching that pen go around and around, but I'm not going to cross any lines. So like right here, I'd have to cross into this, and I'm not going to. So I kind of traveled my pen up here, and I'm continuing that circle. Now, that we call the hollow bow technique, if you did not know. Now, for this one, what I would normally do is I'd travel my pen around here, and I would continue. And you know what? You can do that and just continue all the way around. Although I found with this one, it was fine enough to just do little curved lines like this, just filling in the rest of the space. It depends on the tangle. This is one of the few that I would do this. I generally like to keep in the flow of that tangle, because then it makes it convincing that you have drawn underneath something. And this one, it does look that way. All right. next step is we're going to draw 3 orbs, a big one in the center. And if you imagine bubbles, okay? So, and I like to start this one up here at the top, because what I want to do is I want to fit that curve of that bubble as tight as I can. Whoa, okay, that one went a little bit crazy. As tight as I can up here. And then, I kind of went a little bit over, but that's all right. There's no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle, and it's all right. And then I'm fitting one in tight here, and then fitting another orb in tight here. Helps if you work slow. But again, a bubble doesn't fit into the corners. It only goes so far, and then you have these gaps, right? Okay. And, I'm debating. No, I'm going to do it this way. All right, and we're going to do it again, because I want to do... I want to do something a little different than the 2 samples that I have. So we're going to just do this one's all in the same direction, just because. And what I have found sometimes, now this depends, I think every person is different. So while you could do one box, and then move to the next, do the same thing, do the next, move to the next, do the same thing, and do an entire box all at one time. Or you could do like what I'm going to do for the remainder of this, and doing, well, although this first step, I should have done the first diagonal, then put in the 2. All right, but doing each step in each box separately. Again, it depends on how you work, and I share both of those options so that way you know. So then my next is I'm going to put these spirals in all of these bottom sections. And it's really funny because I just said, well, you don't have to do that. Well, what I did. Having my pen travel all the way around. Okay, and then we'll do that again. And it's so funny because I notice when I speed up, then I get little weirdnesses, which are okay. It makes it's whimsical then, and that's good too. All right, last one here. It's like I try to aim for the center. It's like, well, sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't. But as you can see, in the end, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I just keep going around until I know I can't fit, I'm not going to fit another line through. So, oops, sorry for that shake there. All right, and then for the orbs. So again, we'll see if I can do it without, well, let me see, that was close. I didn't quite go in. So again, this is just me personally. I like to start up here so I can get that curve going at the top and make sure that I have that covered. Ugh. And then again here on the side, and it's kind of the same concept here. And I'm actually starting with my pen on the grid line, and I am tracing over a little bit, on this line as well as on the orb next to it. Another thing that you can do is, like, sometimes I will start on the orb next to it, so that way I'm assured that I'm not going to leave a little gap. But again, these are just things that help me. If it helps you, fantastic. You might have a different method that works for you, and you stick with it. That was a really nice looking orb there. And for those that don't know, we call them orbs because, it's an orb. Circle is too much pressure because, circle must be perfect. And so there we have it. That is essentially the tangle. And then, however you want to shade, you can shade. Let me just show what this would look like with, I'm just going to do some shading. I'm going to just go right along the grid lines. And we'll do the outside too. And I'm not going to go in very far because this is small, but it'll add some roundness. And then I'll show you the other things that we did. It'll just kind of make each little square look puffy. There it is. And so I'm just almost going side to side, but coming down just a little bit, so making a very shallow circle. And actually, this one, I'm going to go I'm going to do this right down the center because I want the graphite to go into both sides. And, okay, and then this one, same idea. And I also do, if you are new to my videos, I do like to keep the point of the tortillon, just like with the pencil, pointed to the line I'm working on, so that way I don't go across it. Because it's hard, it's like if I was doing here, it's just, it just doesn't work right. So I'm always pointing it. And so then turning your tile, of course, as need be. Boop. And there. Then it just, you know, they almost look like little tiles, you know, because they're rounded. That's what's so neat about adding some shading, is that it kind of brings it to life. All right, so let me back up my camera here really quick and show you some of the things that we did. So this was one that I worked on earlier. So what's neat about this, so as I was mentioning, you know, the reticular fragment concept, and taking each little box, and so you can turn that, so depending on which way you want to have the diagonal go, and then also which side you're going to have the orbs, which side you're going to have the spiral. So I had started off with one thing in mind, and then it's like it didn't necessarily pan out, but it still looks really cool. So while you can just, you know, have fun and just do this as a regular tangle, if you want to put a little bit more thought, if you want to put more thought into it, then it's kind of like a puzzle. You know, we're just shifting things. So, and this one, what I did for the shading was I put it on just the inside, on just the spiral pieces. And I went along, you know, these diamonds, and these I just went on these sides, just to, you know, sink those down a little bit more. And then also, oh yeah, because I can't remember if I mentioned or not, you also can decide if you want to fill in behind, you know, in the little gaps that are created when you make the orbs or not. So I left the outside just with not filling those in, and the inside with, so that way you can see the difference. And it's just, you know, it adds a nice contrast. I also this is on a gray tile, so I did a little bit of graphite around, actually just a very little bit, around the outside of these orbs, and then I added some white charcoal. I'm just using what's left on the tortillon just to have a little bit. So I added some white charcoal on the inside, just to you know, to play around, make it a, you know, look more like an actual sphere than just kind of flat. So that's even more extra fun that you get to have with it. And then lastly, let's see, get that in there centered. This one, and you'll see this on the For More Inspiration link. So this was another way to construct it, where, you know, I have all the diagonals are going in the same direction, and then I'm alternating. So if you were just looking here, let's do it like this way. So if you're just looking at this row, you know, I've alternated where I have the orbs and where I have the spiral. And then if you continue that, and then you create these neat lines. Sometimes, you know, it just takes a little bit of thought, a little bit of planning, which generally in Zentangle, you know, we don't necessarily work to do a lot of planning, because it's about, you know, just tangling and relaxing and all of that. But, you know, but this is extra fun. And then I added a little swoosh, just to kind of make them look more bobbly, and just to have fun with it. So there's a couple extra ideas for you with this tangle. And again, take a look at my Step Out, the link for more inspiration, and have fun with it. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you give us a thumbs up. And also, if you're not subscribed yet to the channel, would love to have you as a subscriber. And if you do, make sure you click the notification bell next to that button, so that way you can decide how you want to be notified, and if you want to be notified at all. And let's see, in the description box also are ways to connect with me if you like. Excuse me, as I mentioned At the beginning, I do some free classes, I do some paid classes, and the list is on my website. And there's also, I list these through Eventbrite and Meetup. And so if you're on those platforms, I have links to my profiles on those. So that way, if you want to follow me there, and as well on Facebook. Instagram, I'm still working on getting that to be a habit of posting there. But we'll get there eventually. So with that, I think that's everything. And I wish you happy tangling.